Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But science is not. Science is not in the eye of the beholder. I mean, you just...
Bill Maher just unleashed a brutal takedown on the Democrats, and he didn't hold back. On his latest episode of Real Time, Maher went scorched earth on the far-left agenda, ripping apart the endless stream of woke theatrics dominating American politics. From glorifying bad decisions to pushing absurd cultural narratives, he dismantled it piece by piece. This wasn't your average comedy monologue, it was a full-blown political roast. If you're ready for unapologetic truth bombs and zero-filter commentary, strap in and subscribe. You won't want to miss this ride.
Now that we have Ozempic, I hear much less about the body positivity movement, which was always Orwellian. It was always Orwellian to say that being fat was body positivity. It is the exact opposite, or this bullshit about how you could be.
Maher came out swinging, zeroing in on the woke mob's double standards around obesity, and he didn't sugarcoat a thing. Not long ago, even suggesting that exercise or a balanced diet might help someone lose weight was branded fatphobic, with cancel culture waiting in the wings to pounce. Influencers flooded social media, glamorizing destructive lifestyles and dressing it up as body positivity, while the self-proclaimed champions of empowerment applauded. But now? The tune has changed. Suddenly, the same crowd is racing for miracle weight loss prescriptions like Ozempic. Maher's point was clear: this was never about real empowerment. It was always a shallow, feel-good narrative pushed by woke Democrats, and the mask is finally slipping.
Is that people throughout time have an idea of classical standards of beauty. And in our case, in our civilization, there have been an American standard of beauty that actually reflects what people want. And so
fat was in at a time. You can see it in the paintings, but it's when people were poor and food was,
a sign of
that's right. And in certain cultures, like the Pacific Islander cultures, there's different cultural ramifications. But the reality is that more people would rather be, petite, trim, low body fat, than be 500 pounds. And I think that's what
maybe in your white world, but I mean, that's not ever.
With very few exceptions, carrying excess weight is a straight road to declining health, no matter your race, culture, or background. Biology doesn't bend to political correctness. The equation is simple: eat more than you burn, and your body stores the surplus as fat. That fat doesn't just sit there quietly, it strains your heart, wears down your joints, and punishes your vital organs. Keep it up long enough, and you're inviting diabetes, heart disease, and a shortened lifespan. Health isn't a cultural trend or a social debate, it's science. And pretending otherwise is nothing short of self-destruction.
Will perform at a festival in Saudi Arabia. What does this suggest about how liberals view the country now? Yeah, I mean, some big names are performing in Saudi Arabia. I mean, who's going? Is my question.
It seems high risk. It seems like the thing that might end in a public beheading if you say the wrong thing. I would keep the jokes right within the lines. Yeah.
I don't think this is about politics and how they see Saudi Arabia. I think this is about this.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. How much are they being paid?
Saudi Arabia knows how to bribe. They did it with sports. Now they're doing it with comedy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Political principles tend to go out the window when there's enough money on the table.
Maybe Colbert get a job over there.
That's liberalism distilled to its core, preaching lofty ideals until a fat paycheck enters the room. Then suddenly, those sacred principles evaporate quicker than a broken campaign promise. Hypocrisy isn't just a flaw, it's their brand identity. And the irony? We live in a culture where stepping over a comedy line can get you cancelled overnight. But dangle enough money, and the same fearless voices who claim to speak truth to power don't even flinch.
Big chant at the rally was "lock her up." I was a little bit like, this seems a little extreme, not sure how I feel about this, but after he won, he said something very interesting. He said, that was a campaign thing, Hillary's fine, we're going to all move on. And he didn't actually seek to prosecute his political opponents. But now, over the last 10 years, we've had Russiagate, we've had investigations, we've had indictments, we've had arrests, we've had the mugshot, we'd have a
Rufo's take isn't just commentary, it's a calculated game plan. His advice? Trump should stop pulling punches and aim directly at the Democratic power structure itself. And truthfully, it adds up. In his first term, Trump chose caution, focusing on policy instead of going after political enemies. The payoff? A non-stop cycle of investigations, phony scandals, and smear campaigns that buried his agenda. The lesson is obvious. In Washington, restraint isn't seen as dignity, it's read as weakness. Rufo's call is blunt and uncompromising: hold the opposition accountable. Not out of spite, but to draw a hard line that abuse of power has real consequences. Justice isn't optional, it's the message.
And a lady boss and that bitch. But maybe your judgy is no prize either. And if you jilt a guy for not thinking enough about Black Lives Matter, just tell me this. What have you actually done that made any more of a difference in any black life than what your inadequate ex-fiancé did? I asked Senator Adam Schiff here last week when the subject of Trump's sliding poll numbers came up. Okay, but how are the Democrats going to blow it this time? This is how. Posturing, purity tests, the politics of I unfriend you if you're not exactly with me.
The Democrats are still botching their chance at reclaiming leadership, and the reason is as obvious as ever, their addiction to moral showboating. Rather than uniting the country around practical answers, they climb onto soapboxes and scold the very people they need to win over. It's the same tired act, but they just can't quit it. Their go-to move? Branding everyday Americans, folks concerned with paychecks, safety, and stability, as villains for not parroting the latest progressive slogans. And instead of adapting after back-to-back lessons in 2016 and 2020, they've doubled down. More lectures, more shaming, more division. The result? They are burning through their chance to lead, blinded by their own arrogance.
People use the term all the time, and it means something different to everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5-10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity. We see it all the time. It's always the most.
In this segment, Bill Maher doesn't just poke fun at woke culture, he goes for the jugular. To him, this isn't about left versus right, it's about defending basic common sense in a society drifting off the rails. Maher makes the case that woke ideology isn't some quirky annoyance, it's corrosive. It replaces truth with dogma, logic with outrage, and hard-earned merit with identity politics. At its root, it's anti-reality, pressuring people to deny obvious facts just to signal virtue. And when a culture elevates lies over reason, collapse is only a matter of time. That's why Maher labels it dangerous. It erodes trust, fractures communities, and poisons public debate. His warning is blunt. If this agenda isn't challenged, it won't just irritate us. It will unravel the very threads that keep society intact.
Amount of cult followers for anything, and then the true believers never die. I mean, a lot of people would say right now the Democratic Party is still in that mode, which is going to render them possibly an irrelevant party if they don't change.
What would you like to see from the Democrats, like, going forward?
Well, much more centrism, much more get rid of the woke baggage, old school liberal is what I usually describe myself as. But that's very often the opposite of woke. Woke would like people to believe that there's some sort of an extension.
Maher nails it. The Democratic Party is marching straight toward political extinction. Unless they pivot hard, irrelevance is their destination. History is full of once dominant parties that collapsed under the weight of their own arrogance, too stubborn to evolve or listen to voters' real concerns. The Democrats are replaying that script, clutching their woke orthodoxy while ignoring bread and butter issues like jobs, security, and healthcare. Contrast that with Trump. When strategies failed, he didn't cling to them, he adjusted, sharpened his message, and clawed his way back into the fight. That's the difference between survival and self-destruction, adaptability. If Democrats can't break free from their ideological bubble, Maher's warning won't just be sharp commentary, it'll stand as a prediction fulfilled.
Keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe. The Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party. Last election, it was all the gender stuff, the insistence that men can have babies.
The Democrats have weakened themselves into irrelevance, and Bill Maher sees it crystal clear. A party addicted to woke theatrics can't hold its ground when challenged. Its ideas collapse the moment they face real-world scrutiny. Even their most cherished policies disintegrate under pressure, exposing contradictions that leave them humiliated. That's why Maher warns, extinction is on the horizon. A movement built on posturing instead of practical solutions has no future, and it gets worse. Last election, the focus was all on gender ideology, claims like men can have babies, and instead of pushing back on these absurdities, Democrats embraced them. They treat children like sages, elevating teenage tantrums into moral doctrine, as if TikTok outrage equals wisdom. Parenting is inverted, politics is warped, and the result is chaos. When your platform is shaped by adolescent sound bites instead of science, history, and experience, collapse isn't just likely, it's guaranteed. Maher's message slices through the noise. The Democratic Party is sabotaging itself. Obsessed with woke virtue signaling, allergic to reality, and unwilling to adapt, they're alienating half the country while hollowing themselves out. History teaches that parties that can't evolve disappear. Unless Democrats rediscover common sense and backbone, their progressive future will be nothing more than political extinction. And that wraps up today's video. If you got value from this breakdown, make sure to hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more straight shooting commentary.